let's get started with our planned program for this evening and settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. I haven't seen Amy for a while. If you're there, Amy, say hi. If she's not, okay, I'm going to follow up, see what she's doing. Okay, so just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. You can have your feet flat on the floor, about a hips width apart, and shoulders aligned with your hips. Just be sitting right on top of your sits bones there. And your ears align with your shoulders. And then just go to the crown of the head and release any tension in the crown. And the forehead and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the back of the tongue, the ears, the jaw, the back of the head. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs. And just notice the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. Be aware of any sounds in your environment, just allowing them to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. And then just check in with yourself this evening and just see how you're doing. Kind of the same, maybe you haven't seen a friend for a little minute. So just, check in with each other. How are you doing? What's happening? Where are you at this week? So just the same, be your own friend. Where are you at today? What's going on? And then bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you don't like at all. Or maybe you just feel irritated by. Imagine they're all, you know, they're all equal in this. They're the same as you and me. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. They all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. And keep it also in mind that due to impermanence, these relationships could be interchangeable. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life. We think of people who kind of have had injuries or operations like Coral, and Lou's got something going on, and then Kimberly, she's still here. So you can also just imagine that she may possibly be in a state where her mind might be traveling. If it is, then just imagine Kimberly's here with us, doing the meditation practice with us. And she's been many times before, one of our regulars. So just bring her in here with your mind. And imagine now there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. and we create negativity with our mind. So equally, we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we purify using the 4 opponent powers. We're in the context of the Vajrasattva practice. So we start with the first of the 4 opponent powers, which is regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason we're regretting is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, past actions, and so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And then also regret, anger, attachment, and the rest, all of our delusions that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And so we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha to forgive us necessarily, but we're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. And we're doing the work ourselves. We're using his methods. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has this gorgeous, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful, and they're full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents enlightenment, infinite wisdom, infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So have a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And so then we get to the power of remedy, and this is the actual medicine, doing the practice. And we start, this practice, this section of the meditation includes visualization and mantra. So we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hum pe, vajrasafa samaya manupalaya, vajrasafa dina patita, jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next we come to the purification of our speech. And imagine Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you just imagine all the gossip, the harsh speech, the useless speech and lying, talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Jida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahompe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita. Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe, vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dinapatita, Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe. So now feel so happy that your speech is completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others with your speech, and that includes yourself. And next is the purification of our mind. And imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you just imagine that, you've walked into a room, it's pitch black. You flick on the switch and instantly the light comes, lights everything. So the same here, that the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and instantaneously all the darkness of the negativity of your mind is completely dispelled. All your anger and disappointments and anxiety and bitterness and grudges, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of your body, speech, and mind. So imagine this time that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely. And it eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. So how this is happening is the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body. The nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech. And then the light comes and blasts all the delusions. And this is happening all at the same time. It gets very busy. And all the delusions eradicated. This is just like the final wash, an extra wash. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's really crucial because this is where we get to decide that we want to refrain from harming. And so without making that kind of decision, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming is like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. You know, Rinpoche used to talk about everything being on the tip of the wishes. So, you know, it just is a matter of wanting it. So we think of something, first of all, rejoice in your efforts for coming along. Rejoice in your ability to even be able to come along, or that you even remembered to. And then think of something you'd like to work on. You know, it could be some just little thing. Keep it simple. Work on it just maybe every now and then. Think about it as you're doing the dishes, or maybe you have some speech thing, particularly if you're living with other people, family, friends, whatever. Sometimes if you can't think of the appropriate thing to say, it might be best not to say anything. So anyway, think about something you'd like to work on and then rejoice for that. And this determination to refrain from doing things that might be harmful just gives us strength to change. So we just decide. So Vajrasattva's delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So whatever level you might understand this word emptiness, this concept of emptiness, place your mind there for a moment and think that all phenomena in the universe don't exist in and of themselves. They don't exist by themselves. There's sort of causes and conditions and different factors that brought these things together. And they don't exist from their own side. You can also think that, maybe the way things are appearing to me might not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings. I just think this evening particularly of our, Kimberly, who's been such a consistent member of our group for so long, and then Lou, and then Coral, and anyone else. If I've forgotten you, I'm sorry. And may all this virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So here we go. Chanting the names of Manjushri. With body bodiless, the best of bodies, with realization of the peak of bodies, displaying his form in every possible way, he is the greatest stone, the precious gem. The wisdom of performing actions. What all the perfect Buddhas are to know, the Buddha's unsurpassed awakening, devoid of syllables, yet born of mantra, arising from great mantras, threefold family. The father to the meaning of all mantras, the greatest Bindu, void of syllables, with 5 great syllables, great empty one, 100-syllabled, devoid of Bindu. Endowed with every form, yet free of form, supporting half of 16 bindus, transcending every grouping, void of members, sustaining Dhyana's 4th and final peak. Okay, everybody.